master with the accomplishments such as the 2X World Champion of the Road to the Horse 2012, 2013, and also the Australian Champion at the Equine Australia 2005. Has been named the first official Australian stock horse ambassador since 1999. Guy and his amazing equine team have been featured at many of the Australian events such as the Royal Shows, Asia Pacific, numerous major equestrian festivals, international rodeos, the Australian famous man from the Smoky River Festival, and also performed live with his 4 Australian stock horses on the Australians Got Talent in 2010. Guy took a leap of faith and flew his then main team of Australian stock horses to the USA. To his share, his beloved horse and country and the rest of the world, he now has 3 amazing Liberty Performance teams on 2 continents, demonstrating his complete and utter dedication to everything that is horse. Having performed a part of the National Finals Rodeo celebrations in Las Vegas, as well as the Royal Winter Fair Toronto, Canada, has written and performed among the equine royalty at the Devon Horse Show, Washington International Horse Show, Winter Equestrian Festival Dressage at Devon, New York Central Park Horse Show, the 2010 World Equestrian Games, and also in the major headliner performance at Equine Expos across 3 countries, while always showcasing what is to be lifetime horseman and being the proud Australian stockman. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him to Millersburg, Ohio.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I'm sorry it was so long. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a true pleasure to be back here in Millersburg for this wonderful event. And I truly mean that. We do get to perform across 3 different countries, and I love this event because of how much you all love and how much you all need these incredible animals that we call horse. I'm very blessed now to be at a time in my career where I'm able to headline at events like this. But I can remember as though it was yesterday, being a young, shy boy who was too nervous to look someone in the eye, too scared to stand up in front of anybody and to say my thoughts and my beliefs. And it's because of these incredible animals that I now get to share what they've taught me all across the world. Now, I spoke to Ray last year before we all walked and said, I would love to start a young horse. And he said, no, we've got a really good colt starting competition, which he absolutely has. And so therefore, we don't need to show any more colt starting. And I said, well, I promise you, mine will be a little different. I said, I want to be able to, on day 3, if I'm blessed enough and my young horse believes in me enough, to be riding him, working my Liberty team of 4, and possibly bridleless. And so he said, well, if you think you can do it, we're going to make it happen. So a big thank you to the wonderful horse donors that have brought these beautiful youngsters for us. People asked, what horse would I choose if I was in the competition? And you don't know until you work with them. I was put in a position that I only had 3 to choose from, and I chose this little gelding mainly because of his size. He was one of the bigger ones, and I know that I'm not a little man, so I wanted to have something with a little bit of size about him. And I'm really glad I did, because he made the others look a little small, and he looks a little small beside my 2012 World Champion. So you'll notice a couple of different things straight up from the colt starters. I'm working in a big open arena. I'm using my wonderful ridden horse, and I have a rope around the horse's belly, and I have a bit in his mouth. Now, the reason that I'm doing that is this is pretty much how I would start a youngster to lead, with a halter on when they're 6 months old. As my yearlings, I put a bridle in them. But I want to be able to control his body with the belly rope, very much the same as my feet are going to, and I want to be able to control his direction and shape with his face. Now, something that I've developed just over the last month, I came up with it about a month ago, because I've always wanted to come up with something that I could groundwork in a bridle without having to change my rein. So you'll notice here that I have a rope that goes underneath between the bit, and I call it the Guy McLean go-between. And it's to go between groundwork and ridden work, between direct rein and neck rein, and between bridle and bridleless work. So I just want to ask him to go forward. If he was to really pull back, he'd be pulling back on his own tummy. He wouldn't be pulling back on his face. but I'm going to work to where I go just to that. I want to show you, explain that a little bit more too. I've never seen anything in the marketplace where we can train the neck rein from the very first day that we work with them. So here I'm on what we call a direct rein, where he's bending all the way through his body off of the direct feel of that inside rein. And with the bridle tipped off to both sides of the bridle, keeps him very upright in the face, so he's not going to be able to tilt his head. When I have him out on here, he wants to be close to me, but when he gives to that bridle there, he's giving off of an indirect rein now, like a neck rein. So I need him to go forward, and then here, we're already working on that indirect rein. So I have a bag and stick, and I did a little bit of work with him. You'll notice that I'm blessed that I didn't have to come out and catch him in the open, and I did ask the breeders and the organisers if I could have a little time with him as soon as we chose him, because I didn't want to come in here and have him blast out of my hand and then run off and jump that little fence there and be all up visiting with you all. So I made sure that I could just do a little bit of work with him. I did about half an hour, and then 2 hours later I come in and I put the bridle on again for just a few minutes. So I normally have four sessions with a young horse before I do what I plan to do, and I only get 3 here, so I'm very grateful that I got to do a little bit with him. I'm going to get my darling wife Emily to come out and just to take beautiful mate away from me a little bit. Well done, young man, very proud of you. So I'm going to leave that on this little fella here. I'm going to set myself up. He didn't have a lot of forward, this little boy, when I worked with him today. He really didn't want to step out and move out, and I actually asked the breeders, was he very forward in the paddock? Is he a horse that canters much? Because he didn't canter at all in the very first demo of the day when we set him out here, and they said, well, they all come running when we put the bucket out. So I thought, well, that's good. Worst comes to worst, I can put a bucket in front of him. But here's will be the first time that he's seen the tarp, and the first time that I've worked him from the ground. So there's that indirect rein I speak of, and now he's going to have to give to sorry, this is an indirect rein, the other one was a direct rein. So now he's having to tip his nose, and you'll notice that the way I've got this set up, the go-between actually makes him look to me with that rein there. And I'm going to set this up so that it's up where the neck rein's going to be. So from the very first day I can start to teach him what a neck rein looks like, because all of the best riders in the world, the best dressage riders all talk about the outside rein. So this is an inside rein now, and now I'm going to turn it into an outside rein. I'm just using the tarp for forward. So there, I'm teaching him to do what all the dressage riders say, which is to take inside leg to outside rein. So I'm teaching him to bend through the body. And I want to make sure that all my groundwork, you'll notice that I don't chase them through the turns, and I don't want to be talking bad of what anyone else does. I'm just explaining to you that I want to be just like I'm riding him. When I'm riding him, I'd be guiding him off of his face. So I'm going to bring him forward off of the direct feel, and that's off of his belly. And then ask him with energy to go up and around. So there he's giving through the neck off of that indirect and direct bend. And that doesn't mean I'll get on him and ride him and be able to neck rein him today, but it certainly means that I'll be able to start the process. I've worked the bag and stick with him, but he's never had the tarp on him like this. And you might say, why is that important to you? The reason it's important to me is us humans are stupid, and we do a lot of stupid stuff. We put tents up, tents fall over and flow around. We have plastic bags everywhere. We basically do silly things, and our horses have to put up with them. So I'm just saying to him, my dear boy, in your world, you've done everything right. You run till you're free. You fight until you escape. But in our world, that gets you in trouble. So I need you to breathe until I come and get you out of the situation. I need you to be comfortable. And what I like about this too is he hasn't had a girth on his belly yet, but he's had a good pull on this. Every time he pulls back, he feels the girth pressure. So that's something else I'm not going to have to introduce to him, Colt. And I'm very aware with him. I noticed when he was going around less was always more to him. If he could cut corners, do less running than the other horses, he was all about it. So I'm very aware that I may run out of horse here, and I may not get a lot of forward with him, and that's what that good gelding mate's going to do for me. He's going to be here to basically pull him around, and I don't mean metaphorically off of the horn. I mean that I set him there and made or trot around in front of him, and this horse can follow him. So all things that I wouldn't be allowed to do in competition, but the only thing I'm competing for here is for this young horse's heart and mind, and for your understanding and respect. And if I can win that, that'll be plenty for me. So I just do these things just for him to know if he can handle it. Horses in their mind are always saying, I think I'm going to die, I think I'm going to die, I think I'm going to die. And then every time we work them through something, it's like they lick their lips and go, oh, that was good, I didn't die. So I'm just saying, oh, I'm nice. I'm just saying to him, my dear friend, I'm not going to put you in situations where you're going to die. I'm going to put you in situations where you can grow. That there will be, I'm not going to use a second girth on this horse, but I will do a little bit of prep for it, because I know that the Western saddles all like to have a second girth. And I have already done this, so I want to show you. And he did what he's supposed to do. He's a little feely horse. He did what he's supposed to do when I did this next bit. And I just want to explain to you why it's important to me that he gets over it. So he had a lot of trouble with going forward. You'll notice I can work that rope all the way here. I can even work it back to his flank, but he gets a little tickly when he's there. Now when a horse bucks, it's a desire not to go forward. So he basically has a little forward block in his mind. And as I say, this horse didn't canter very much today when he was running around the arena. Now, if he's not going to canter when I'm on him and I send him forward, I'm going to get those kind of movements there. So I'm asking myself, could I ride that? I'm pretty handy, I could ride that. I could stay on that all day long. That might make my hat curl up a little bit, and that I want to talk him out of. So it doesn't matter whether I could ride it. I've ridden a lot worse than that in my career. But I want to know, could the person who buys him ride that? Could her grandmother ride that? Could her daughter? Could her sister? You know, that's what's important to me. And what I really like about him is he's saying, man, I don't understand it, and it's tickly for me. I need to jump away. And I say, that's okay. You're allowed to. But I want you to breathe through it. I want you to know that you can take that pressure away. He just reached out and bit at me then. So I'm going to take my thumb and my forefinger, place it above his top jaw, and just massage his top jaw there. And this will release stress. He's stressed, and I don't blame him. So I'll do that a little bit, and then I'll hop away again. And I'll put my arm back in that same position. He goes, I'm not going to bite you because you'll stick your hand in my mouth. So I wasn't angry at him for doing what he did, but I certainly don't just ignore it like it was nothing, because I want him to know that I might be nice, but I don't taste very nice. So I'm going to go and put him out here. And what I love about the go-between on that bit is that it just changes from left to right. So if he changed and went the other way, that'd be okay. And none of this bothers me. I've never been bucked off doing this. Not once in my life have I ever been bucked off ground working from this position. Someone got it, that was nice. So, and really he's not bucking, he's just jumping little jumps because he has a little mental block. In his mind there's a little wall there that's stopping him from going forward. So I say, well, can you jump it? So you'd say, well, Guy, what would you do if you were riding him? I'd say, well, you'd sit up like a little jump jockey and you would ride that. You wouldn't fight with him because he's not trying to be mean. Even when I hold on to that firm and don't let it go, he'll figure that out as well. But I really want him to go forward because in my mind, this is just me pressuring him with two legs, which I won't do. I'll use a forward tap on my whip or my rein. But dear boy, I just want you to go forward, run through that little wall that you have in your mind. When I stop, I would like him to look up to me and stop. And you'll notice I don't move my body very much. It's because my body's getting older and it doesn't move as well as it used to. But also I don't want to have to do so much on the ground that my horse, that when I get on him, he goes, how come you're not moving as much, but you expect me to move a lot? Here I'm asking him to back up. What I love about this little setup I've come up with, if I pull him too much, he'll just go into a deep bend here. And the back up is not so much the request as the release. So there I have a two-rein feel on him. But if I get overzealous with it, if I give too much pressure, it's just going to pull him into a little turnaround and take his hips out of the way. What I like about it as well, and I'll talk about it more as I go, is that this little fellow, when he went around the arena and the first time I saw him, he was quite high-headed. And we could look at that and go, oh, he's a little high-headed for me, I don't like it. But he has some of the best bloodlines in the world to be a top reiner, and they all travel very low. And very soon he started to release at the pole and release a little bit at the wither. So you can get with these little horses where they'll actually drop down, right down with their nose and put it on their chest, and they won't move their feet. So now I have 2 reins going through the rope ring on my go-between, and I say, I want you to give to physical pressure of that rope around your neck. And he cannot physically give to that without moving his feet. He can absolutely physically give to this and put his head on his chest, but he can't physically give to the neck rope without backing up. So I'm always thinking about what I want him to be when he has more understanding, when he's older, and with everything that I do too. I have 3 teams across 2 countries. I'm always at least half a year away from my horses at any one time. And so if it took me 5 years to prepare a horse, that would take to get to show ready, that would take me about 10 years because I would be away from them all the time. So I try to develop a method and a way of working with them that didn't take them any quicker than they were ready to go, but took them as quick as they were ready to go. This horse here only needs to make a mental thought in his head of what I would like him to do, and he can do just about everything I need him to do for my shows today if he decided to do it. You know, he could stop, he could turn, he could spin, he could do all those incredible things. Here I have the rope of my surcingle around his belly. I'm just going to pick up on that. You'll notice I'm dragging my rope. If he can't handle that, if he's not sane enough to handle that, I'm not getting on him. So anything I can do to basically check him out on this his first day, the better. I was looking for more holes there, but he's not as fat as the last one that I had. I do start 2-year-olds in this. So I'm going to do this up. I'm going to go fairly firm with it because I've already been around his belly long enough to feel that he can handle it. I love the way he's standing there, bent up around me, taking the chance to have a break. And you won't see me through this hour step away from him and give him a rest, but he gets a rest in that moment. Right there, he got a rest. Now, I'll be totally aware he could jump there, so I'm going to place my hand up high. Kevin got really excited today when he saw a horse ground tying, so there's one. Thank you. I'm going to, and I'm really impressed with Kevin if he's about, because he doesn't like being on the microphone. So how about you give him a round of applause for what he's done today? I've been really impressed with him. It's really cool when we put ourselves out of our comfort zone, and that's what we're asking this beautiful youngster to do today. We're taking him completely out of his comfort zone and asking him and expecting him to cope, and that's exactly what Kevin was doing today. So I have a loop. If you come by my booth later, I can explain this to you, but I'm going to go through the loop and the go-between and connect off to the bottom D of my girth. Actually, I won't. I'll go up to the top D of my surcingle because I want to continue to work on that indirect rein, that outside rein. So I'm going to ask this little fella to go off, and if he goes to buck or jump, I'm going to stop. So I'm going to say, I love what you're doing there, can I have a little more? I don't love what you're doing there, can I have a little less? Now, a lot of people say, well, you need to push them through that. I want you to know that whatever we add energy to is only going to get more of what we add energy to. So if he's bucking and I add energy to it, ask their National Finals Rodeo bronc riders what that looks like. The horse doesn't canter out, and he has a flank rope on and they're pulling on his head, but he doesn't canter out and get smooth, he gets more up and more upset. So if I say to him, I want more of this, I like that, I want more of it, but if he was to leap or to jump, I just stop and say, I want less of that, please. Save your energy for the things that I need, and he has no idea what I need right now. I want you to go forward. Now I am tapping him quite a lot more than I would like to, but you watch the other horses with him today in the arena, they were having to be a little firm with him too, because he's just happy just to take the tap. So when I'm turning him, I'm wanting him to bend all the way through his body, and what I love about this is just like me riding him, you'll notice I'm not using any body position to turn this horse. I'm not moving his hips. I'm not stepping in front of his shoulders. I'm saying follow your nose. Release your shoulder here and follow your nose. Because when we ride them, we work them, and I love the Liberty work, and I'm quite well known for what I do with Liberty. But what we need to teach horses is to give the direct pressure of that rein on your neck, the direct pressure of this inside rein on your mouth there, the direct pressure of both reins on your face. You're being a good little man, I'm very proud of you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo that and go up on the other side so I can work on that other indirect rein. So I want you to know that when I'm stepping around to the right, it's just like me riding him with just the right rein. And then when I stand him around to the left, it's like me using just the outside rein, like a neck rein. And the reason I love to go up to the girth, if he pulls back, he's pulling back on his stomach, not on his little face. And I send him off here. I need more. Try for me. And as soon as he tries for me, then I can go soft. And you'll notice here, I'll need a fair bit of forward for this to get really good. But I'm working here off of that outside rein already, and he's starting to look into me off of that outside rein. Now, I spoke to a wonderful trainer here at the event, and I asked him how long it takes to get a horse to neck rein, a proper neck rein where they look into the circle, and he said with a good trainer at least a couple of months. Well, this little fella here is learning today to bend to the left while you're travelling to the right. While you're travelling to the left off of that outside rein. Here I can pick up on his neck and take him backwards again. And all I'm saying to him through all of this, and you'll notice I'm not stopping and patting him a lot, but I want you to know that my heart is completely open to him. And all I want is great things for you. All I want is to see you be the best that you can be. I don't know where your future goes after this. I don't know where you end up. But I want you to know the next 3 days I will pour my heart into yours and hope for great things for you. And so I don't need to be patting him and loving him every stride for him to feel that. I can be totally open to him and caring in all the stuff that I do. But I know that when someone stops and rubs you on the head, I mean, it's nice for a few seconds and then you get a little bit sick of it unless you're into that kind of thing. And so, you know, the only person that's allowed to rub my hair is my darling wife. My mum gets away with it because I love her and she brought me into this world, but I don't let her do it very long. So I don't spend a lot of time just rubbing and loving on them. I spend a lot more time working on having them, you know, move their feet and do the things that I need them to do. And then when they do that, things will go soft and easy for them. Now, I normally long rein them, but I'm really happy with what I'm getting from this here. I'm going to leave the long reining out and still get a lot of the long reining benefits with this go-between. I'm going to throw this saddle on as though it belongs in the middle of his back. I said to him, what's 2 plus 2? He says, oh, 7.3. I said, I love the effort. What's 2 plus 2? He says, I think it's 4. So because he said it was 4, I move on. I don't want to keep asking him the same question and then him start giving me a different answer. The tar, the bag and stick, me being above him has all prepped me for what I'm doing now. If I hadn't already done the girth, I could be doing the same thing here with my girth. I'm just going to go up and get on strong with him straight away. And normally I would go back through that girth, through that ring on the go-between and click off to the saddle. But here I'm just going to stay in that and go straight to the stirrup here. And if he gets upset and he gets worried, well, then I'm just going to go quiet like I have all the other times. And if he wants to lower his head down, I just stop. I'm basically saying to him, I love your energy, I love the desire, I just don't like it in that shape. So you won't see me push him on. Now if I ride him and I can't get him to go any other way and I just have to basically ride him through it, he's not being me. So I don't see him running around this arena trying to buck me off. I do see him doing a couple of those and then stopping and going, I just want to go back with my friends in the pasture and run around. So he's not, in my mind, he's not even bucking. He's just running around with his 2 hind feet jammed together. So I say, mate, use them differently. You can use your energy to run down the street slapping old ladies in the face, or you can use it to help them cross the street. They might even put you in their will, and you might have a better life. So there I want to change direction and go the other way. And see, I don't need to be sitting on this, because right now I'd rather walk. My legs don't work that good, but I'd still rather walk than bouncing around on that. So I'm just going to stay with him until he does things where I go, man, I'd rather ride. Now, because he's young, the go-between just slipped into his little mouth. And I'll just pop that out and I go again. I just say to him, anything that happens, my dear boy, is just a variation of things that are going to happen in your life. None of it's bad or good. It's just what it is. And if you breathe through it, things will get easier. And he didn't have a backup. When I first worked him, he was very sticky in his feet. So I'm really loving what I'm seeing here. What I'm going to do now is come to one of my reins. And I'm going to connect this off to the same ring that and I have different ones of these. I have ones made up with rings and clips. For those who don't know, they're the workings of the rope knots that I tie. But I love using the rope because there's no jingling in that while I'm working, trying to explain to you all. So now I have the outside rein connected. And what's going to happen when I bring him around in here, and I might have to release it, make it a little looser. So when I long rein, I start to teach them about the two reins. Now he's wanting to follow his nose out to that outside rein. And then when I pick up on it with this inside rein, and he gets a little bit of bend, he gets a release when he looks into that bend. So that outside rein is creating a soft bend to the inside. And you'll notice how mature he looks when he does that, and how immature he looks when he runs around this way. So this way he's just running around with bend, he's looking left and right, looking like a little baby 2-year-old. When we take him here and we support him with this outside rein, he starts to have a different look. He looks like he might have had 2 or 3 weeks of riding. He drives his hind foot up underneath his belly, and he steps up underneath. Now, he still has to ride like a baby 2-year-old today. Try for me, little man, please. You're making me look mean. When I stop, I want the hips to go. Then I'll take him this way, and then once again, this is who he is. This right now is who he is in his understanding of the work that we're doing. And this here is who he's going to mature to be. And it's all it is giving him support, giving him something to trot up to. Try for me. Trot up into. When I stop my feet, I'd like him to stop. It's a lot, isn't it? You're doing really well. You've been a great one, man. And all these words mean nothing to him. He couldn't care less whether I'm saying he's good or bad. He just wants it to be over. And there's a lot of things when we start these young horses, they look at it and say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to carry a saddle. I don't want to carry a bridle. I don't want to carry a rider. Well, I get it. I don't want to pay for fuel. I don't want to have to pay exorbitant flights to fly back and forth. I certainly don't want to get pulled over when I drive 10 miles too fast because I want to get somewhere quick. But that's just what happens. In life, there's a lot of things that happen that we don't want. But we learn to do those things so we get what we do want. I have a wonderful life. And if I only focused on the bad things, I can tell you my life was tough. But I'm too busy thinking about all the great things that I get to do. Being here, working with a horse with bloodlines that I only dreamt about when I was young. Like this fella's great-grandfathers on both sides are multi-million-dollar reining horses. And here I am getting paid to work one of them. I feel very blessed. So you'll notice when I go this way, try for me, please. And I want you to know too, I'm asking a lot of him on the ground, so when I ride him, he'll go, man, I prefer it when you're on my back. You don't ask anywhere near as much when you're sitting up in the middle. You don't seem to be anywhere near as brave as when you're chasing me here on the ground. And so the last thing I want to do is have him go, the ground works really easy, I'd like you to stay there. Because we all know they can put us there whenever they like. And a lot of people might look at him and say, he's just a little 2-year-old guy. I'd much rather ride a big, strong, heavy horse that wasn't as wicked quick as these little fellas are. I mean, if you want to see someone fall off, let him break in a pony. They are terribly quick-footed. Now, I am going to let him air up a little bit, and I'm just going to work the whip while I do. You'll notice I haven't done any join up, I haven't had him follow me anywhere, but he's following me anyway because I'm leading him with my gear. So I'm going to look at him a little, but I'm not going to focus at him too much. If he wants to move his feet, I'd be thrilled for it because I've been asking him to move them. And I'm just going to let him go. Did you notice I let him slip out about 6 foot there? So I wasn't trapping him when he was leaving. I was letting him run out much like we would if we were marlin fishermen. You let them run when they're running away, and then you draw on them. Once again, that's off of his girth, not off of his face. And I just like this because it just shows me what happens if we're riding and there's a loud noise or something's going on. There's a fellow that goes around all the shows, his name's McLean, he cracks whips all the time, so we better get him ready for that. I've ridden into warm-up arenas all across the world and they go, oh, damn you, McLean, I'm going to have to lunge for another 2 hours because I've upset their horses with cracking my whip. These are a wonderful whip that I have here, made by a great old stockman in Australia. They're not great for the fast cracks, but for the one-on-one cracks, they're really super. So I would still like this little fella to move out some more. So Emily, bring me over my boy, please. I don't want to get on him and wish that I'd done a little bit more canter in the saddle with him. So Em's going to bring over Mate for me, and I can help him out a little more. I'm going to click on to both. Just stop there, please. You'll notice there he got worried when the rein came across, so I just do it again. Anything that he's comfortable with, I flow on as though it was nothing. Anything he's uncomfortable with, I just go back and I say to him, are you okay? And he goes, yeah, thank you. I wasn't sure what you were getting done there. I haven't done a lot of this, but I'm going to see if I can turn him around here. Now this, with the go-between on, this is asking him to give vertically as well as laterally. So depending on where his mind is at, he can just put his head down and back up. Because right now, that is a 2-rein pressure right there. So if he was really soft, he should be collecting and backing. But if I add more pressure, it's now going to become a 1-rein. And I ask him to bend his nose all the way to the left. And when I first worked him like this, the other little boy would just put his head through the pressure and run forward. Now he's learning that he can get off the pressure by backing away. So there I'm off the neck rope, and normally I have to long rein them to teach them this, but this little deal around their neck is really helping me. Something I try not to do is to look back over my shoulder, just like I did then. Look back over my shoulder if they won't come to me. I want them to come and fill up that hole for me, because I don't want to have to be a leader that keeps looking over wondering if they're coming. A true leader, the others will follow. So having led this boy already, I know I can have some forward beside him, and really all I'm looking for, and I might just double my reins up. So I do have a longer rein that I can click off, but with my good rope reins here, I can I won't tell you the name for it because you don't get away with saying it anymore, but I basically rig up something that the natives in Australia would have done because they're very ingenuitive. And now I'm going to ride along and I'm going to just say, my dear boy, I want you to feel that saddle out for me. And I want you to tell me what you would do if I tapped you and asked for a lot of forward. Now, he hasn't felt the saddle in canter, so there's a big chance that he's going to buck into canter, and that would be fine. I just let him buck away until he was right. And I wait for him, and he gets lost. I can step around here and ask him to speed his feet up. And then I ride off again. I've got a clicker in the crowd, I appreciate that. You'll notice I don't click a lot because I'm always talking, and the last thing I want to do is have my clicker get in the way of my talking. So I am going to see if I can get him to go forward with me sort of behind him and ask him to travel out. This is what I'm going to do when I'm riding Mate. Now the way I have this set up, he could actually go to the right and I could be neck reining him. So if he wanted to do that, I'll go with him. Thank goodness he's not bred to jump. Try for me, little man. I'm going to see if I can get him to nearly overtake me here. And he's finding real comfort in the movement. and he's finding comfort in saddle and travelling up beside my ridden horse, which is great because I will use my ridden horse to basically give him a drag along. A lot of the warm bloods that I started through COVID that have a lot of trouble going forward, and those things are bred to jump, and when there's no jump in front of them and you don't know when they're going to do it, it's a little scary to ride. So having them follow out another horse actually really helps them, and even though they're not bred to work a cow, following another horse is very valuable. It's not terribly important that I get pin on both leads in this work, but because I have the time and I'm able to, I can. Very nice. And what I just love about this here is it's very, very like just working them with the halter on, as I've said. And the reason I want to do my groundwork in the bridle is because that's what I want to do when I ride them. So to me, groundwork them in a halter, then putting the bridle on, it's a little bit like, I suppose, standing in front of the mirror saying your speech in your pyjamas and then putting your suit on. You may as well say it in front of the mirror with your suit on. So I'm going to have the 2 reins here and pick up on both of them and ask him to come back. Now when I go and I ride him, because I haven't started one like this, I don't want to confuse him. I have a full understanding of what a baby in the bit feels like. I haven't started one in the go-between, so I don't want to do it here and go, oh, you know what, I probably shouldn't have. But I'm getting him to back off of that pressure there. And I might sit here and leave him in that for now, because not ready for me to ride off just yet. Now I could get on him and just ride him off beside my horse. I've done that plenty of times. And I want you to know I've started horses in lots of different scenarios, lots of different gear, bridles with nothing on them, with a halter, with a rein around the neck, with lots of different stuff. But I'm just trying to always find out what works for them the most. So I'm going to step here, and if he gets real worried, I'll just go to my ridden horse. I've got my foot in the saddle there. Now I still could just hold on to that and let this horse move away. So there he's carrying my weight. I'm going to put my foot in the other stirrup, and I'll be very aware now that I'm connected completely to him. So I'll be really aware that if he jumps away, I want to be off. Well done, little lad. So he had his first little sit with comfort from the other horse. So Ed, you can come and grab mate for me, please. And you can take his bridle and saddle off for me. I'm going to leave my spurs on, but I'm not really going to use them. And actually what I'll do is I'll prepare him as though I was going to. I have just a little plier set of a knife, but I'm going to keep everything closed, and I just have just the blunt end of my pliers. I'm going to turn his head to the right, and I'm just going to run that up his belly a little. Now I didn't even get to touch him with it, and he's already showing understanding of moving away. So this is a high level thing, to turn your nose to the right and to step away from physical pressure on his belly. But I've been teaching him that from the very first moment I work with him. Give to physical pressure and then things get easy. You're being wonderful. I'm super proud of you. You're such a good little man. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Now I've been starting horses without the likes of the gear that I use my whole life. And so it doesn't mean that you have to have everything that I have, but anything that helps us to train these horses not quicker, but more solid with less time is great, because I think they've all only got so many miles in their legs. So just the butt of my little tool there, which is just like my thumb, only firmer, I'm just going to run that up along his belly there. And his little skin just shivered, and he said, I really would like that to go away. And I said, well, if you move away from it, things will get easier. And this is what the cutters and reiners do after their 60, 90 days. They start turning horses around like this. Well, there's no reason he can't do it today. And they know if you sold him to a reiner, they'd be working on those things very quickly, because that's where their finished goal is. So as I say, that was nothing but just my Leatherman tool. Absolutely none of the tools are open. So we could do the same with my thumb, but I just wanted to show you that I could do it with that. And here when I'm standing with him, they've said that this boy here goes back to Walla Walla Whiz, and apparently they're very sweet horses, they just want to be around people, and I'm seeing it. He's being really sweet. But one thing I don't want him to do is to step up and to push into me. I want to make sure that he always gives me room. And though I might invite him to come to me, come and step into my space here, don't step any further. Here, boy, can you move your body away from my zone? Good. And everything's slow and methodical because he's getting tired, there's no doubt about it. I haven't even looked at my watch for a little bit. Because I'm not in the competition, it doesn't matter if I go longer, it just matters that we can get everything done for the show. I'm going to tip his nose out here. And I'm going to choose, even though I'm wearing the spur, I'm going to choose to move him with my whip first. Because spurs are a great way to lift the horse. A whip is a great way to stretch a horse out. I believe in you. Are you ready for a ride? And down a little boy. So I'm going to bring him down now. I asked myself a question, and the older we get, I think we become more spiritual, because the older we get, the closer we are to being a spirit anyway. So I start to check in with myself, and I've always had a good feeling when I feel the horse is ready to be rode. I'm just going to go quiet here and make sure that that feeling's there. So I feel really comfortable that he's going to give me a good first ride. And now that I've made the decision to get on him, I'm going to stay on him until I can get on him. I'm going to stay on him. And so this year, I've had people say to me, Guy, why do you get on from the box? And I'm going to tell you that there's two reasons I get on from the box. And one is, he's a young 2-year-old. He's not terribly strong yet. I'm no jockey, I'm no lightweight. And so I'm very aware of looking after him. And the other one is, my doctor said if I can continue to do what I do, I will have to stop riding when I'm 50. So that's why I get on from the box, because I'm not stopping riding for anybody. So I'm going to just stand up in that stirrup and get low with him here. I'm actually going to invite him to carry me a few strides. I'm going to see if I can stop him there. I might invite him to carry me a few more strides. I try not to use my clicker, as I said, but I just want to see if he can carry me off a little. I'm going to see if I can stop him there. So being able to stop him and back him from the ground has been very valuable to me. Now when I get on from here, I'm going to settle into the saddle and ride whatever movement he chooses. I'm aware of what I have behind him. Now if he was to go to jump and lead, I try to be the very best passenger that I could be. If he was cantering, I try to look like I was asking him to canter. If he was leaping, I try to look like I was asking him to do that. You know, even the best rearing horses in the world look wonderful when the rider's smiling, but if they're screaming and throwing their hands up in the air, they look wild. So as long as I sit there in a nice position, I'm going to look like I've asked for it. And people will say, can you teach my horse to rear? And I'll say, no, you can do that. Just upset him. He'll do it all by himself. So on his first ride, I'm going to take hold of him and see if he'll relax his face and bring his feet. Now he's a little stuck, so I'll wait for him. Good boy. I'm going to take his nose to the right. And now I'm going to start to ask for some forward, being very aware that he doesn't do those little jumps. So working him on the ground is a great way for me to know what that looks like. And you remember him too, when he gets worried, he doesn't go forward, he just bounces up and down. So I say, oh, I love your effort, mate. That was wonderful. And if I had a need for that, I'd leave it in. But I really don't have a need for that unless I want to upset my kids. So I just say to them, good effort. Your feet are stuck, aren't they? I hear you, and I see you, and I feel you. But follow your nose. We've already shown you how to do that. And then I want you to look up and carry me. Look up a little bit and see what's up ahead of you. I'm going to just stay with him here. And I would much rather this than just fighting him and pushing him on and telling him to go. Now, not having the round yard, there's a less desire to want to do that. A lot of them, when they send them forward in the round yard, they won't touch their face. But I don't want him getting fast, jumping out of the arena and you saying, hey, Guy McLean, it's lovely to have you in my lap. So I'm going to go with him here. You'll notice a lot of people think that babies want to run off. They don't want to run off. I'm going to widen my hands until he comes back to a stop, and I'll wait for him. If he ran off again, I would just gone forward with him and said, carry me in that frame. Because when we want him to collect, he has to fold up and through the back. There, if he gets tight, I just say, love the energy. I don't love the application. I don't like that the saddle's getting closer and your neck's getting shorter, but we can work on that. I just keep moving his feet around, keep separating his legs to where he starts to say, you know what, in the paddock, nothing shortens me up. He's got a lovely little trot, and his can is going to be a little bit of a trick for him, but I'm going to have mate to help me. You'll notice I went really wide with my hands just to help him there. And right now I'm not looking up over his head to the next hill because he's not looking there either. So I look at the same ground that he looks at, which is just a few feet in front of his face. I'd love it if he would open up here. I know that he's probably going to bog down, so I sit up, let my boy in and let his hold off. I have a quick look at my watch. I still got 20 minutes before I'm scheduled up. Now if he runs to catch my gelding, I'm just going to widen my hands and say, you can carry me. And he's going to say, you know what, that's too much bridle, I'd rather better back up. So, and we just get you once you're gone, just to shut that gate really solid so mate doesn't get out, because he's got a hot date back in the stable with the feed bin. You notice mate doesn't spend a lot of time away from the feed bin. So this boy here is a huge help to me, as is my darling wife. Thank you, Emily. So I will use a bit of a clicker for him because I don't want to get caught. Now, I want to make sure that he's with gelding, but that he's with me. Oh, I love that brought little kids along to cut on the outside. That's wonderful. This little fella's bred to rein, but I think he'd work a cow too. So I'm going to go back up here. And there's times where I want him to look at that horse and be a part of him. There's times where I want him to be a part of me. Mate will go bucking and kicking and squealing like a 2-year-old, which is a great help on a baby. And I've told him that many times, but he doesn't seem to care. So this horse is having something to do. I'm going to see if I can ride past him. And on the very first ride of his life, see if I can ride, as I said, I'll see if I can ride directly beside him with his nose tipped out, because that's what I did. I turned him around there. Some young horses, I rode a lovely little Mustang, and he was stopping and backing and turning like a cutter on his second ride. He wasn't ready to do it, but he didn't know. Go up and have a can. Oh, thanks, mate. That's fantastic. So I'm going to see if we can go across here and start to get him to be a little more forward. Now, his first stride to canter will be the one he gets tied on. So I just sit up, widen my hands. I'm not telling him to stop. I'm just saying, can I please come too? Something I say to my wife, it's all right for her to leave me as long as I'm allowed to come as well. So now we're going to see what we can flow him down. Don't catch him. And that's beautiful. This is a little fella that didn't have a lot of forward today. Now, this is just using natural instinct, but why not? Why not use natural instinct? Why not create a little bit of help? Lovely boy. I'm just going to widen my hands. I'm going to turn him around here because you've got your feet a little stuck, didn't you, brother? So when we ride these little babies and they trip, don't sit up on them thinking that they're not going to trip again. Say, oh, you've got your feet stuck, let me help you. Things got a little tight, let me prepare you better. So I'm going to see here if I can go down, and I know mate's going to cut the arena off because there's no feed down that end. So he's going to, as I get in on his hip here, he's going to come to the left. So now I'm going to come out and get a right lead. And this horse is going to pull this gelding into that right lead. Mate takes him straight to the top, which is a big help, mate, thank you. And so already on this first ride, this baby is now tracking this horse around and controlling him. I'm going to step over here to the left and see if I can't get in front of his eye. I'm going to get my first proper 2-rein stop there. And I'll take his nose and then go back again. He doesn't know that this is a big deal, and your stunned silence tells me that you're really impressed, which I'm really happy for. Oh no, don't clap, because then I'll know that you're awake. So I'm going to see if we can take him down there again. I might even see if I can ride past him here. Now I want him to be quite straight. I don't want him to go past until that gelding stops, and then get a stop there. And then I'm going to ride back to him. I've got a dear little friend named Prefect, whose daughter's 9. I said, come and block me like a cutter. And she goes, yeah. I don't want to be no cutter. And my Turkish isn't a cutter, and I said, well, it's just control. You don't have to be a cutter to enjoy going out and blocking another animal and stepping the ground. So, mate's just making sure this horse can handle obstacles. And so it's very important. You might say, well, is that horse just following? Absolutely not. He's with me, and he's connected, and he's trying. There's moments where it's all about mate, and there's moments where it's all about me, good boy. So now I'm going to see, because I'm very aware of my time, I'm going to see if mate can come over with me, because as I say, on day 3, I would like to be riding this young gelding working my Liberty team. Now, you haven't seen all the training I've done with him. I did 25 minutes up on the hill, the same kind of feel and understanding that you see here, and I've been in the stable with him once. But that's just so we can give him the very best start as possible. So don't compare me to the Colt starters, unless you want to say I'm better, don't compare me. Because we've all got our own thing to do, and I take my hat off to them. I've been in the competition arena, and it's a lot, so well done to them. I'm very proud of them, and I'm super proud of this little boy. Now, he doesn't know, and please don't come and tell him that riding and working a Liberty horse on your very first ride of your life. Don't tell him that's hard, because he has no idea. I'd like to thank that person for trying to see how educated I have this horse. I put them in the crowd. I say every now and then, just knock something over and see how educated my horse is. So thank you for doing that. It was perfect. I love it how my back was turned so that my horse could really spook away. You timed it lovely. Now, this beautiful boy here is going to have to do this in the show. And he's a little bit disgusted because the ground is a little bit tough. But I'm going to lay him down, and I'm going to see if I can ride this little boy in circles around him. Now, a lot of young horses don't like this. A lot of Olympic-grade dressage horses hate this. At least I think they do, because their owners scream at me when I do it and tell me to get out of the arena. So I imagine they do. But this horse doesn't know any difference. He goes, oh, that's just Guy's friend having a little lay down. The more that we can expose them to, the more that they can understand. He's also not only one of my best horses, he's the best dog I travel with across the world. You darling boy. Thank you very much. So I just hope that what I've shown you this afternoon is that when you dedicate your life to something, and when you think about them each and every day, and you're in your head about trying to be better and trying to have more understanding and more timing and more feel, these are the kinds of things that you can get. And by way of applause, could you please let Ray know that it was good to let me start a Colt here? I appreciate it. Because the last thing I wanted you to do was to say, oh, we've seen plenty of Colts we started today. This is not going to look like a Colt start from this day forward. This young boy is going to continue to make huge steps. No more, no quicker and no faster than he should, but I'm going to see him for the greatness that he was born to be, and fingers crossed we get to share in that. Thank you so much for having us. We'll see you over here later on. So I'd like to do a running dismount on their first ride, just for trick riding later on in their career. Well done to you. Well done. Well, big round of applause to that Don McLean. Not only is he a humble son of a gun, but he's one of the best looking men I've ever seen. Thank you, mate. That's beautiful of you. You're so sweet. Thank you.
And if you guys, it wasn't in his bio, but I think I'll get it added. There's one more natural skill that Guy has that he didn't show in the arena. If you step out back, he can't drive a scooter worth of crap.